The Boys just had its final season released on Amazon Prime, where we once again follow the boys as they hunt down Homelander, who is now looking for V1, which could make him immortal. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel. I am the Movie Tin, and the time has come. The Boys is over. I remember weeks ago when I did my review for the other seasons. Feels not that long ago. But we're now reviewing the final season, which is crazy. Didn't think this feels so quick. It ended so quick. But we're here. We're gonna review it. And boy, do I really have thoughts. Do I have thoughts? So if you want to see my thoughts on the other seasons, go watch that review. And I guess now let's just get straight into it. So just to start off general conversation, I just want to bring up how a lot of people are feeling about this season. People are thinking that this season really missed the mark, because it just felt like a filler season until the very end. And while I do agree with that on some of the episodes, like the early episodes in the season, I don't think were filler, you know. But then there was a point around episodes 5, and then even 6, and then the penultimate episode 7, did kind of feel like filler at times. And I wasn't really complaining because the way they made this season, it didn't feel like a final season. So I was just watching it thinking, oh, it's just another season coming. Oh wait, no, this is the final season, which you shouldn't have filler episodes in your final season. But with that being said, I think the finale, just the episode 8 itself, was really well done. I think for the filler episodes we had, but obviously I love the first few episodes. Episodes 1 to 4 I think are really good. And then, obviously takes a bit of a dip in quality because of the filler episodes. But I think the finale episode 8, really hit the mark and was very good. A lot of people do not like the finale episode, which, I can kind of see why. But for the most part, I think the finale was extremely well done. Best episode of the season. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's just get into more general discussion. The first thing, or two things I want to talk about, are Homelander and Soldier Boy. I was going to do these guys separately, but I think it would just make more sense to have them together. Early on in the season, I thought Soldier Boy's involvement was very fun. But then in the later episodes, it just clearly became, it was just a setup for Vought Rising. And the way they didn't even kill Soldier Boy at the end. Spoilers for the season, by the way. Spoilers for all of season 5. The way they didn't even kill Soldier Boy in the end. They just had him back in the 2 was like, so what was the point? His whole arc in the season was to set up Vought Rising. I feel like he could have done so much more, even with Soldier Boy and MM, because I would have, obviously, I don't think they would have had a fist fight because MM is just a regular guy. But I would have liked at least a moment between the two. I know they had that one look in episode 6, but that was it. That was it. And I don't know how to feel about that. But anyways, moving on from Soldier Boy, Homelander. Homelander's officially dead. That was insane to see, and I loved the way Butcher did it with the crowbar to the head. Amazing stuff. I love that. Great tie into the comics as well. Crazy that Homelander's actually dead. And I feel out of all the villainous characters in the season, Homelander was done the best, which is obvious because he is the main villain. But yeah, he had a great, Homelander's story in this was just he wanted to get the V1. He thought he was God, and I thought that was a really great way to take his character. Just make him think he's actually God. I think really works for Homelander, and it was just a great way to like have your main villain act in the final season, especially when it's Homelander, this crazy person thinking he's God now. I really enjoyed Homelander this season, as I do every season. A lot of people don't really like how he thinks he's God and all this. It feels like it's kind of out of nowhere, but for a character like Homelander, I think it like works perfectly. So I really enjoyed Homelander this season. Next person I want to talk about is Butcher, who is also dead. Uh, Killed by Huey, just like in the comics, but this time it's a lot more emotional. And it was obvious by the end of the show, Butcher was always going to die. And when he didn't die in the fight with Homelander, I was like, oh, maybe Butcher is gonna survive. But he doesn't. He goes full Butcher and tries to take out all the soups, and Huey shoots him. Very emotional stuff. He sees Lenny in Huey again, and then Huey obviously being the one who shoots him. Heartbreaking stuff. Heartbreaking. But, I've always enjoyed Butcher as a character, and this season he was just Butcher. He was just Butcher, and I'm very happy that they made Butcher the one to actually kill Homelander. Because if it wasn't Butcher, I would have been quite, angry about that. So I'm glad it was him. Next person I want to talk about is Huey. I mentioned in my review of the other seasons that they kind of forgot Huey was the main character. And for the most part this season, he isn't really the main character. But in the final episode, he is definitely the main character again. Him being the one who, just having a moment between him and Butcher in the final episode after he shoots him. Again, heartbreaking stuff. But, and it was obviously very sad seeing Huey be the one to kill Butcher. But, yeah, I mean, I'm glad they kind of made Huey a main character again in the final moments of the show. Because I do love Huey as a character. And even this season, he did change a little bit because they were in a prison camp for, I'm pretty sure a year, they said. And you can definitely see within his first moment in the season where he hits a guy and knocks him out. It's something you wouldn't really see Huey do. And he doesn't do a lot of fighting this season, but, they do change him a little bit. And I'm glad he was the main character in the end. Something else I brought up in my review of all the other seasons was that I didn't want to see A-Train die because his redemption arc has been so great. What do they do the first episode? They kill him. A-Train dies episode 1. And then after episode 2, I don't think he's mentioned again. Which I get. You have to move on. You have to do stuff. But come on. You kill him first episode, that's crazy. But the way he went out as a true hero, avoiding that one woman on the road, call back to Robin, of course. I think he went out in a great way. I just wish we got a little bit more of him in the season working with the boys. But, went out as a hero, so rip A-Train. Somebody else who dies is, of course, Frenchie. And this was probably the most sad I was throughout the whole season because I love Frenchie as a character. He was one of my favourite characters. And seeing him go out by, distracting Homelander, saving Kimiko and Sister Sage, I thought was very sad. But, people have their opinions on the actor. And that might be why they killed him out of all the members of the boys, apart from Butcher. Whether or not you like the actor or not, I certainly don't. But I still liked Frenchie and I was sad to see him go. Especially for Kimiko. Speaking of Kimiko, and I'm just going to put Starlight in here as well, or Annie, sorry. Because, I'm talking about a lot of characters here. And we're already almost 10 minutes in. So, gotta start wrapping this up quickly. But first off with Kimiko, uh, obviously she speaks this season, and at the start I thought that was very cool, but then all she was talking about was porn and sex and just just awful stuff, and I didn't. I was like, what did they do to you? What? You used to be a cute character. Now you're just a porn addict. Eric Kripke, come on, man. Come on, you could have done so much more with Kamiko other than make her a porn addict. But obviously, I felt very sad for her when Frenchie was killed, and even more sad at the very end where we see her with her dog that her and Frenchie were going to adopt, and she's, I'm pretty sure, in France somewhere. It at least looked like that. If I'm wrong, tell me. But Kamiko, I'm not so sure on. Now moving on to Annie. Uh, she was just how she is every season. You know, she's in love with Huey and she doesn't want him to die. But I am very glad that she was the one who like caused the death of the Deep to happen, even though she really didn't think that was gonna happen. I'm still glad she got to fight the Deep at least once and then send him to his death. I was very, very happy about that, and I loved they did that. I was kind of thinking maybe because they were setting up, you know, they were setting up the Deep getting killed by sharks, that one Samuel L. Jackson shark, and I was like, don't do that. Don't have him be killed by a shark or a fish when it should be Starlight, who he really hurt in season one. And even though the fish were the ones to deliver the final blow, Annie caused it to happen. And I was very happy about that. Thank you, Eric Kripke. That was very hype. Next character I want to talk about, and the final character who's in The Boys. Well, the main group, not the show. Is MM, of course. MM I thought was very interesting this season because he was becoming more and more like Butcher, which even the legend said to him in episode 6. Cool to have Paul Reiser back, by the way. Um, but yeah, even the legend was saying, you sound like Butcher. You're becoming like Butcher. And he was. MM was becoming like Butcher, and I was like, what are they going to do to tie up his story this season? In episode 7, I think probably the best part of episode 7, other than Frenchie's sacrifice, was MM revealing his backstory. Well, not his whole backstory, but just revealing how he got the name Mother's Milk. And I thought that was an incredible scene, incredibly well done. And just the dialogue and everything that was so, so good. And after that, he went back to being normal MM because he was saying that the prison basically just like made him a bad person, made him more like Butcher. But then he became like himself again in the very end. And MM has been my favourite character for a long time, so very happy that he made it out alive. Now, another villain I want to talk about is the Deep. Rest in piss, my man. He killed Black Noir too. He killed him. And obviously, he was just a really bad guy. And even in his final moments, he was still glazing Homelander. Even though Homelander, like, literally just said to him that the only reason he hasn't killed him is because he wants him to see how worthless he is. That was such a good moment. And I love how after that, when the boys enter the White House, they see the Deep crying about it. But then he still goes on to glaze Homelander. And when they give him a chance for redemption, he shuts it down and gets himself killed. So rest in peace, the Deep. Final character I want to talk about is a new character this season, Oh Father. I think Oh Father was a great addition to the show. Even though he was only in it for one season, Daveed Diggs really like a great character. A great character for the little time he was in the show. Obviously they gave him a musical number which a lot of people aren't happy about the lyrics. But it's catchy. I hate how catchy it is. And the way they kill him in the end I thought was cool. But I do wish they did a little bit more with him in the end. You know, because you could kind of see that he was kind of turning on Homelander. But they didn't do anything with that. Instead, they just have him get his head blown up with a ball gag. So that was shocking. So do wish they did did a little bit more with Oh Father, but I think he was a great addition for the final season. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the positives I have. First is just what they do with Ashley this season. You know, with her power of basically, her power is basically her conscience talking to her, and I thought that was great for Ashley. And even in the end, where she redeems her, well, not redeems herself, she isn't really a villain. But she saves the boys, helps them kill Homelander by just freeing them, and then getting impeached and not being allowed to be the president anymore. Not very happy with Ashley's ending. But for the most part, Ashley this season was great, as always. Next is something I brought up earlier, and that is just the ending. I think the final episode is great with the deaths of the Deep, Homelander, Oh Father, and Butcher. I think was all just handled very well. And even in the final episode, I like how they ended Sage's character by just having her powers get removed by Kamiko's blast, and then just getting to live a life she wanted to without her powers. I think that was a great ending for Sage. But yeah, the final episode was really, really good in my opinion. Alright, now let's get into the negatives I have. First is how a lot of characters take a backseat this season. Especially Ryan. He's in 3 episodes, but like his total screen time is probably 20 minutes out of an 8-hour season, and that's not great for somebody who's the son of Homelander. Still cool to see Ryan fight Homelander in the very end and help Butcher, but I wish he did more, and even with other characters. But probably it's just set up for spin-offs, I'm being honest. Next, and this pains me to say because he was the best part of season 3, Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy was just a negative this season for me. Early on, like I said earlier, I really did enjoy Soldier Boy's involvement, but he just literally turned into a character who was just spouting out lines to set up Vought Rising, and I didn't like that at all. This is your final season, and you have a whole character who was great in season 3. His whole purpose is just setting up a spin-off. I don't like it. That's all I have to say about The Boys season 5. Overall, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Good as just a season of The Boys, but as a final season, could have been a lot better. And that rating is mostly for episodes 1 to 4 and episode 8. They shouldn't have had filler episodes, let's be honest. But anyways, overall, I did enjoy this season, for what it was. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts on The Boys season 5. Are you gonna watch Vought Rising? I probably will. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you like? What did you not like? Leave a like, subscribe if you want to. I'll see you in the next one.